The long pathway, the final ending, other parts down below. STBX is on her last leg financially. This morning it was I spent all my money on the kids last weekend, taking them to the movies and out to eat. She hasn't asked for money but says she might not have the gas to drive down to CD7 tonight. Depends on whether she can talk to the unemployment people today and get a paperwork issue cleared up. I'm not up on the latest unemployment laws, but if you get fired from a job, they don't have to pay you squat, do they? Some really good days, some not so good. Lawyer finally contacted me and I might just have things lined up to where she will sign the papers. Wish me luck. Tonight was difficult in a couple of different ways. I went to pick up D7 and ended up talking with STBX for a few minutes. I've got to stop doing that, but I'm trying to be a co-parent with her. She started crying and wanted to ask one last time if I would take her back. She said she misses our family. She apologized again for everything she caused. Asked if there was anything she could do to win my trust back again. I pretty much told her no. Not in an angry or hurt way, I just said that things could never be the same again. That marriage was dead. The conversation lasted probably 10 minutes with several dead spots, neither one of us saying anything. I had plans to take D7 to a minor league baseball game tonight, so I said I needed to go, let D7 hug her mom and brother, and left. This is tearing me up tonight. I left the game after the 6th inning because I needed to get D7 to bed. She couldn't sleep and kept crying for her mom. It's breaking my heart. If we didn't have kids this would be so much easier, but because of the kids it pulls at my heartstrings so much. I know I'm doing the right thing because their mom is in such a bad place at the moment, but I fear my daughter and stepson will resent me for not caving and getting the family back together. What do you say to a daughter who says I don't want to go with you? Mom needs me right now. It shouldn't be up to a 7-year-old to console their mother, right? But if STBX is so codependent that she can't help but feel her need to be paid attention to, and filling their little heads with stuff, what can I do? Damn her for doing this. I'm a big boy and can handle it. But was she so damn deep in the fog that she couldn't play this scenario out in her head and figure out a way to make things work before opening her legs for another man? I can't take her back at this point, for me. She always tells on herself, and I found out a week or so ago that she's now slept with another guy in her apartment complex. It didn't surprise me or really hurt that much. My love for her is all but gone. But I do care in some way because of the kids. Some tiny part of me way back there wishes things could be the way they used to be. Little nice guy me sweeping everything under the rug just to keep the peace. But at least the kids were together. But I know they can never be the same again. It would be the biggest number 3 of my entire life if I let her back. It stresses me out just thinking about it as an option. There are more behaviors that I'm observing as well. I'm no longer mourning the loss of my marriage, but I do feel terrible for the children whose lives have been turned upside down through all of this. I feel zero pity for her. But as a father I'm sorry the kids have to be put through this. I feel healed from that part, but still angry that her stupid selfish actions have caused the kids so much drama, trauma, and uncertainty in their lives. Like I said, I'm a grown man and will figure out how to move on, done, but they're innocent kids. STBX is asking me, nicely, to print off our 2012 tax return because she needs it to file for financial assistance from the state, welfare, food stamps. Not sure, I don't want to hinder her getting some money to take care of herself in S13, but this sounds curious. She had no income in 2012, only mine. Can't the state look up our income from last year? Is this some ploy to show he has plenty of money, he should pay me support? Wish things could go back to the way they used to be. I know they can't. Triggering tonight. I was so ready to do the heavy lifting. She isn't. The children suffer the most. Hard to type while bawling like this. Last week I had a bad morning one morning dropping D7 off at childcare for the day. She didn't want to go. Wanted to go back to being with Mama. Didn't want me to leave. Crying. After I finally got her to go and got back out to my vehicle, I was screaming mad. Absolutely cursing STBX at the top of my lungs for doing this to that little girl. But she was fine the rest of the week. You're probably right, I bet she has less bad days than I do. Last night's emotion wasn't really about STBX, or was it? I got terrified of ever being able to trust another woman fully to not run off when something shinier comes along. Yes, there will always be newer shinier models, car analogy, that come along. I just need to find someone who is willing to be with me into old age and not choose another over me. I know she's out there, not trying to rush things by any measure, just working on myself right now. Update, paperwork is complete, reviewed by me, reviewed with STBX, she agreed to sign. This is a good, sign. Meeting her at the bank tomorrow to get it all notarized and then I'll hand it to my attorney. Had a great session with IC today. We talked about my reaction to trust issues. She said it was all very early in my recovery. I agreed with her that my next relationships would need to start very slowly, coffee, lunches with other people so there wasn't so much pressure to feel out intimacy right away. I told her that I was worried about my personality being that I fell in love, infatuation too easily, and that by the time a red flag showed itself I wouldn't be able to detach easily enough to stand by my boundaries and break it off. She agreed that yes, that was my personality before, and the key was to recognize that and move slower. Every relationship I've had seems to have been a whirlwind at the beginning. A few dates with a woman who intrigues me, then right into something physical very quickly. She said I get seduced very easily, and my personality makes it easy for me to mistake infatuation, dopamine for love. After this 9-year marriage I can look back and see this clearly. So, I'm just out of the deep woods, able to see many things about my marriage clearly, though I know I'm nowhere near being completely in the clearing. But I feel myself growing stronger and more confident. She said that this confidence in myself, my life, my abilities, what I bring to the table is key. The key to being able to express my boundaries, no matter how many dates, months, experiences with a person, and be able to notice those red flags later on and confidently say I'm not okay with that and be okay walking away from it. That was huge for me. I'm striving to get to that level where I don't immediately latch onto someone expecting so much from them, so that it's easier down the line when, if those red flags appear. The new papers with agreed upon terms are signed and given to attorney. I get primary physical custody, with joint legal custody for the purposes of agreeing on any major medical, extracurricular, and religious decisions. I would have done this anyway, but she wanted the language in there. I was okay with it. Standard visitation unless we agree to additional as it fits. We'll see depending on her crazy job schedules she apparently likes. She pays me child support. I don't need her money, but my attorney said the judge would want to see it in there. If she actually pays, I'll put it in a savings account for D7's college. So, the secretary at the office said she's scheduling a court appearance for me, just me as the custodial parent, as early as mid-next week, and then I'll be done. My eyes are so wide open now. I am aware, or at least getting there. It's almost finished. Court date is tomorrow at 9 a.m. I have mixed feelings. Mostly relief that this nightmare is almost over. Some apprehension of the unknown. Some sadness that it came to this. Anyone who has been through a similar experience all the way through to divorce care to comment as to how they felt. It's done. I'm a single man. Off to work now. I'm very lucky that I was able to rip the band-aid off quickly and be done. I didn't want a long drawn-out fight in court, and in the end neither did she, although she threatened me with that during one of her drunken rages. In the end she did me a favor, stamped out any remaining embers of R by sleeping around and generally being crazy, and released me to go find someone better. Hope she continues on her own road of self-discovery and therapy so that she can be a good mom to her kids. No woman has shown up to my house with tickets to Mexico yet, but I'm sure it will happen soon. All is well in my world. 1 week officially divorced. Had another good session with IC yesterday, and we're working on some consistency, routine to my new life. About me working. Believe it or not, I believe she did appreciate me and was proud of me as I moved up, most times anyway, that I had a solid career, and gave her the opportunity to work when she wanted to or try different things. Even though it was nice when she worked, until the catering job of course, it was nice to have the extra income, but certainly not a necessity, with some budgeting of course. Did she have a childish view of economic reality? Absolutely. Even when we did budget, she couldn't stick to it past the first couple of weeks. And I see now that I constantly let it fly, didn't stand up to her about it. Our daughter, she's doing pretty well. There was a bit of drama over the weekend where she was excited to go with her mom, her weekend, then wanted to stay with me, then was crying because she doesn't want to hurt either one of our feelings, then throwing a tantrum because of all of it. I told her that it was okay to have those feelings, that sometimes she would feel sad, or mad, or confused. She said she was sorry, and I told her don't be sorry for having feelings. What she should be sorry for was throwing the tantrum though. Next time she should talk to me about how she's feeling instead of throwing a fit. My decision. I just did what I had to do to keep my sanity and set myself up to make lemonade out of lemon, as they say. I've always been taught that I'm not a victim, and I take responsibility for the direction of my life. Working out the last bit of paperwork with X, dealing with everything we agreed to in the settlement agreement. Then got this text out of the blue. I want to say I value our friendship. I am sorry I hurt you. I hope you find somebody supremely better than me. I didn't deserve you. I feel like there is an honest apology in there, but the I didn't deserve you part sounds to me like a cop-out to cover for her actions. I won't dwell on it. Half a year later. Is anyone else as paranoid as I am talking to new friends, or old friends that you're getting reacquainted with, that are married or in a relationship? As a BS, I am feeling paranoid about talking to females I know or have recently been reacquainted with, as I do not in any way wish to be the OM in someone else's marriage, relationship, or even get to the point where the husband, boyfriend, or anyone for that matter could think that. I've been there, done that, have the shirt. Let me give an example. A girl I used to work with many years ago and I got reacquainted recently. She has a husband who I met recently and we've even hung out together and watched football, had a couple of beers. The husband and I, she has known me for many years, although we're just recently, last 6 months, getting caught back up. She has a good head on her shoulders and has a few single friends that she's talked about setting me up with. So, I want to check in from time to time, see how she's doing, see how her friends are doing, but I in no way want her husband to think the wrong thing. Another example. A good friend of mine at work has been dating a girl for a year now, who also works where I work. I would like to get to know her better because her circle of friends is around my age or maybe a bit younger, and it would be cool to hang out with the friends to make more friends. However, I don't want to give him the idea that I'm making moves on his girl. I know how emotional affairs start, just ask my ex. Starts off as friends, then you're letting them cry on your shoulder, then someone starts making a deeper connection, blah blah. That's not what I'm trying to do, but it could appear that way to someone on the outside. So, from now on, do I have to quit being friends with someone if they have a so? Am I overanalyzing? I do this a lot. Update. Divorced about 8 months. I am much more financially sound than my ex. I say that not to brag but to put things in perspective. She made many decisions, one of which was walking away from me and our daughter, which has led to her current state of living. My ex was ordered by the courts to pay the bare minimum in CS payments, and I do mean bare minimum. She has yet to pay, and I have not pressed the issue. Though I don't need the money, it would have been nice to put it towards my daughter's college fund. First world problems, right? I don't wish to put her in even more financial difficulty, but I feel like I'm enabling her. It's okay that you're not doing what the courts have ordered you to as long as the guys you find have money to pay for your bar tab. My attorney told me long ago that even if I didn't need the money to raise my daughter, it was rightfully hers, daughter's, and I was denying her if I let her mom off with not paying. I recently hit up an old acquaintance from high school on Facebook. She looked single from all the things I could see, so I sent her a message. We got to talking, and it turns out she was in a 10-year marriage, got divorced, and was now in a new relationship. Okay, moving on. But wait, there's more. It turns out she knew my ex-wife's first husband. In fact, she cheated on her first husband with him in 2004. She was married, he was not. She freely brought this fact up and followed it up with, "But that was so long ago." Wow, small world indeed. Not that I'm interested in this one anymore, as there are too many ties to other people we know, but I wanted to poll my lad friends. Do you feel like someone who cheated on their previous spouse is likely to do it again? As a BS, trust, honesty, and integrity are must-haves for any future relationship, so I feel like any previous cheating is a deal breaker. Thoughts from others. Half a year later. So, I've been dating a girl for about 6 weeks now. We're moving appropriately slowly, I feel. D8 has not been introduced yet but has seen her name pop up on my phone when she texts or calls, and I told her she was a friend. We've had good conversation to see where each person is looking for in our relationship. I am looking for something long-term, not that I'm going to jump into marriage tomorrow or anything, she is as well. So far, I've gotten a family member or a sitter to take D8 so I can go out, as I get no free nights alone like I would if there was normal visitation in place. It sucks, but it's my reality. So, the consensus is to not introduce kids until 6 months into a relationship, and only when you know it's serious. I get that it is to protect the kid from being confused. However, it seems to me that if it's moving towards something somewhat serious, wouldn't I want her to meet my D8, and vice versa, sooner than 6 months to see if they get along at all? I'm not saying introduce her as D8's new mommy or anything ridiculous like that, but just be able to invite my new gal to dinner with us sometime soon. I have not seen her in almost a year, so I have sole responsibility. I love that part and wouldn't have it any other way. However, I feel weird about doing any sort of extended vacation a long ways away with just her, and I don't have a girlfriend at the moment. When I'm home and we can do local camping trips close by, that feels different because that's kind of my element, and there is plenty to do at most campgrounds, and often, I enjoy the time alone with just us. But I was looking tonight at maybe taking a flight to a city on the coast and got anxious about doing it alone. I don't really know why. I think I would enjoy a trip away if I had someone to enjoy it with me besides D9. And maybe if D9 had someone to play with as well. I really don't know why a trip like this would be different than camping nearby. I do have family and friends that go on weekend trips with us sometimes, and we really enjoy that as well. Sometimes if we're just camping alone, folks will come join us for the day and enjoy water activities. But they don't always have the means to take a bigger trip to a bigger area, and I don't feel right asking them to spend their hard-earned money just so that I have people to hang out with on my vacation. Anyone feel similar? Final update. My ex-W did not end up with her AP but does not see her daughter. She moved several states away with her new husband, who also has kids he doesn't see. She talks the talk about wanting to see our daughter, but actions speak otherwise. My question is, for those wayward who moved on after it ended, do you feel remorse? After everything has cooled down and you've moved on with your life, is there ever a time when you think, wow, what was I thinking? My comment, I think some do. One of my best friends is a WW and her family was destroyed. Her ex is remarried and has become a terrible dad to his bio kids. We had a talk earlier this year and she told me she was very remorseful, which she'd never done what she did, etc. I don't think she still loves her ex or wants him back, but now, many years later, yes, she is quite remorseful. Story 2. The real water. I met my wife in college. We started as study buddies, but it slowly turned into something more. She is certainly too good for me, but I still pursued her. I graduated and I took a great job not far from my hometown. She stayed back in school to finish her studies. Once she graduated, she moved back home for the summer, then came to live with me. We decided to get married. I met her family and they are very close. She visits her mom and stepdad a few times per month. We live only 60 miles, so it is not a big inconvenience for us. We talk about marriage and discuss this with our families. My family loves her, however, her family, especially her stepdad, thinks she can do better. Fast forward 10 years with promotions, 2 daughters, nice house, nice cars, everything was going great. It was about this time that her mother was told she had cancer, but survival rate was high. My wife quit her job, went home every other weekend to visit and care for her. Fast forward another 7 years and her mother passes. My wife takes it hard, so I thought, and starts to go home every weekend to remain connected with her family. I offer to go with her and she snaps back quickly and says no. I knew something was up. Now I am not the emotional, drama type guy. I am rational and level-headed. I think her mother's death has affected her deeply, but I also suspect more is going on. I suggest I see for her grief and she refuses. I get suspicious as she remains away for days at a time. Our daughters are teenagers now and really do not miss their mom. My mother-in-law has been gone for several weeks and I think my wife should be at home with her daughters. When she is home, everything is great. She is attentive to the girls. We continue to have great bonding. Everything is normal, except for her extended trips home. I suspect she is having an with an ex-BF. So, I track her iPhone. She is at her mother's house most of the time, but I still think something is wrong. So, I put an audio device in her car without any real evidence. Then I put one in her purse and the truth comes out. She came home Sunday night and then went to shop on Monday. I took Monday off work so I could listen to the tape without interruption. The audio captured everything. She was having an affair with her stepdad. It gets worse. It has been going on since before we were married. I was devastated. Her stepdad is only 7 years older than my wife. From what I gathered at that time, as she started the affair with him when she was about 17 or 18, well before she met me. Her purse must have been in the living room because they had slept together very close to her purse. I could hear the heavy breathing. They did not use protection. I had a vasectomy, and she loves it when he finishes inside of her. I almost threw up. Then her stepdad says, "Now that your mother is gone, we can get married." She says okay. I will tell LL and ask for a divorce. I thought I was going to puke on the spot. I was filled with rage and I wanted to rush to her work and start yelling. I could not think straight and was crying uncontrollably. I think I even blacked out due to the stress. I knew I was having a mental breakdown, so I called my brother. Thank God he was home and he rushed over to help me. I do not tell him much, only that I think I caught her cheating. He makes a few phone calls and within an hour, we head out to see an attorney. This attorney is awesome. It is a friend of a friend to my brother. He tells me to write down a checklist. He explains that attorneys are court officers. They are bound by law and oath to follow certain rules and etiquette. They spend thousands of dollars on their education, so they do not want to take any chances of walking in any gray area. Attorneys are not willing to jeopardize their entire careers for a single, nobody client. He tells me that this conversation did not happen and that he would never advise any client to break the law, as he is rolling his eyes. However, since he is a friend of a friend, he is going to give me the unconventional advice. 1. Liquidate all assets, collectibles, etc. Take the hit and pay the taxes on the account. Convert every asset to cash or gold coins. 2. Sell personal to your brother. Get a receipt for fair market value. 3. Sell the house, get an apartment. 4. Run. So, I make up a story that my brother and his wife are having problems, so he is going to stay with us. My wife agrees. I also make up a story that we need to upgrade our house. So, I put it on the market and it sells within 3 days. We had 7 days to vacate. A week later, we move into a nice condo very close to our house so the girls do not have to change schools. I pay extra not to sign a year-long lease and pay month to month. I put it in my name only. My wife does not suspect anything because she thinks this is temporary anyway and we will be buying a larger house soon. So, she did not question why my brother, who took possession of everything I owned. My brother only stayed with us for a few days, but it was critical. He was my rock, even though he is my little brother who I used to beat up on a weekly basis. He finally told his wife and they scheduled counseling themselves to avoid any problems. I am glad they did, as they had hidden issues themselves, but they worked them out. I transfer all my money to a newly opened bank account. I have over $500,000. My wife and I start looking at new houses. It was very difficult for me to play this game. My attorney insisted. You talk about difficult. I wanted to scream at the top of my lungs. My eyes are bloodshot from all the crying, but I tell her my allergies are kicking up. We looked at a few houses and decide to make an offer on one of them. I told the realtor that we would come into the office next week with the signed offer, just to keep suspicions at bay. The wife goes and meets Jim for dinner and tells him that she and I will be buying a bigger house soon. Then when the divorce is final and she gets the house, Jim can sell his and her mother's house and move in with her and the girls. I cannot believe what I am hearing from the audio tapes. I know at this point that I must move forward. So, I buy a safe and install it in my parents' basement. They are retired now and travel often. They have not been in the basement in years, so they will not find it. My brother helps me. I put all the money in the safe except for a few thousand in the joint checking account. We get back to our apartment and she is so excited about moving that she wants to bond. I could not get excited. My mind was toggling between fantasy and reality. On one hand, I was excited to move to a bigger house and pretend to have this wonderful life with a woman I dearly love with our children. However, I get sick to my stomach when I come to reality that my wife is a B. My attorney also suggests that I get my girls' DNA tested, which I agree. I had to pay the expedited service because I had to know. I love my girls to death and I had already made up my mind that no matter the results, these are my girls. Later that week, my attorney tells me to implement Step 4 run. He tells me to get a first-class ticket to Vegas, rent a Cadillac, and hit the casinos over an extended weekend. He tells me to make sure I pay for most things with a credit card if I can. Buy the entire blackjack table drinks for hours, tip the dealer and pit boss with $100 bills. He even tells me to head out to the Bunny Ranch for a few days and make sure to buy gas out there with a credit card. The wife thinks I am in Vegas golfing with my brother, so she has no clue. I work for a very large but private company. I tell my boss about my wife cheating and that I need to take a leave of absence for several months. He tells me to take a year if I need to and check in with him often. He tells me I can have my job back whenever I want it. I thank him for being such a great guy. I pack a few things and take the name tag off my door and head home. I get back to town from my weekend excursion and he gives me a phone number to Gamblers Anonymous. I call them and join their support group the next day's meeting. My attorney now tells me it is time to confront the B, so I tell the girls to sleep over at their friends. My brother comes over but does not come in until I give the word. He is the process server. My attorney drafted the divorce papers and eviction notice. However, I wanted the chance to talk to her alone first. I needed to get it off my chest. I have been a living, walking zombie for 3 weeks. I ask her if she is cheating on me. She denies it. I then ask her, "Are you sure?" Now she is getting curious and anxious. I tell her that I know she has been sleeping with her stepdad. Her expression was priceless. "I haven't, but how would you know?" She denies and somewhat confesses in the same statement. I tell her that I will not ask her why, only that I know 100%. She starts to cry and admits. She says she wants a divorce. So, I wave my brother in. He hands her the divorce papers and the eviction notice. In my state they have 15 days to leave. If not, then another 7 days for a court date, then another 7 days to get out. So, in all, 30 days total. However, if they abandon the home, the locks can be changed. She gets angry with me and starts yelling, calling me names, and it was all my fault. Then I tell her that I know 100% it started before I met her. Now she knows she is caught. She then gets righteous and tells me that she will get half of everything anyway, so what is the difference? I know you have over $500,000 in your accounts. So, Jim and I will be moving to Miami soon. My response is, really? Well, you can have everything and it will not buy you a plane ticket. She then says that Jim has hired a lawyer and she made copy of my 401 Kelvin statements. Now I am really pissed. This crap has been contriving against me for months, maybe years, waiting for her mother to die so she can take half of my stuff and marry Jim. So, I tell her, well, that is last month's statement. I remind her that my trip to Vegas was financed by the account. I told her that I knew several weeks ago and I took everything and blew it. I logged into my account and showed her. There was a dividend payment of like $300, so there was a balance. She was in shock and asked, "What about the money from the sale of the house?" My reply, "I think I spent that at the Bunny Ranch. I have a receipt if you want to see it. I blew everything out there. I would rather blow everything on myself than give it to you and Jim." Now she is really angry. "Well, the judge will make you pay me alimony." I say I don't think so because I quit my job. I show her the discharge papers. I then tell her that she really messes with my head and I lost it. I had to find a way to stay sane, so I quit my job, emptied my bank account and went to Vegas. She calls Jim and tells him everything right in front of me and my brother. So, she puts Jim's speakerphone. Jim tells me that he will sue me for everything I have and that his attorney is really good. I tell him that my attorney is even better. I offer to give them everything I own if they will just leave me and the girls alone. She says, "No way will I let you have the girls. They are my life." So, I respond, "Really, were you thinking of them when you were sleeping with Jim and his brother?" That was the priceless moment. I could hear crickets. Then I say, "I have audio if you want to hear it." So, they both say yes. Now my wife is panicking. She hangs up from Jim and sits down. I ask her, "Do you want me to play this for the girls, for your family and my family, for your co-workers, because you know I will?" She starts crying uncontrollably. Her game is up. She had everything but lost it. She agrees to move in with Jim and the girls stay with me. She attempts several times to get me to have dinner. She stops over too and wants to sleep together. I tell her, "No thanks. I do not want to have that skanky thing after you have been giving it away to many others." I agree to have dinner together so we can tell the girls about the pending divorce. Since they are older, it really did not affect them. They just did not want to move again, which I agreed. The ex was surprised about how calm the girls were. I think teenagers are so absorbed with their own life and drama that they are less affected. Sure, they want us to stay together, but the ex and me are at least civil to each other. We have our first court date and her and Jim's attorney asks for full disclosure of all assets. My attorney hands him a one-page document. Their attorney looks at it and says, "Where is the money?" My attorney says, "Wait a second, I will look." He then pulls out a 3-page document with all the receipts from Vegas. The judge asks both attorneys if everyone has disclosed everything. Their attorney explains about the $500 K and $401 Kelvin and $300 K from the sale of the house. My attorney says, "Your Honor, my client was a loving and faithful husband and father for over 15 years. On or about May 15th, he discovered that his wife was having an affair with her stepfather for over 20 years. We have evidence of multiple orgies as well. So, my client had a nervous breakdown. He quit his job, cashed out of everything, took the money to Vegas for a long weekend and spent every last dime. He is currently enrolled in Gamblers Anonymous, and here are the attendance logs of his participation. My client has nothing, Your Honor. He is a man broke in spirit and finances." Her attorney looked white as a ghost. She must not have told him everything. So, the judge orders us to a conference room to try and negotiate. My attorney offers that I get the girls 70-30, pay for their medical and all expenses, and pay for their college. She gets to see them 2 weekends per month. There will be no payment of any kind to either party. Their attorney says, "No deal, we want money." I am still angry about this whole situation. I then look her straight in the eyes and say, "I will not divulge the audio recordings to the children if you accept." The attorney quickly pipes in and says he will ask the judge to confiscate any illegal audio recorded without his client's knowledge. My attorney says the audio was uploaded to an internet site in the Cayman Islands, so it is out of the jurisdiction of any U.S. court. Her attorney huddles and tells her to accept the deal. She cannot believe what is happening and signs the paperwork. I walk out of there high as a kite. Finally, my day of retribution. I go home and the girls are still in school. I go to my parents and buy 3 first-class tickets to Miami Beach. About an hour later, the now ex texts me that she wants to talk to me. I tell her no because me and the girls are heading to Miami Beach for a week. I hate the fact that I still love my ex. Whenever the girls and I are having dinner, I always think of the good times. I read somewhere on another thread where the guy said that he deals with the loss as if his previous wife was dead and gone and the new woman is an evil witch. This is exactly how I felt. It has been over 6 months, and I still love her. I miss her. She comes around occasionally, and in a moment of weakness, she will spend the night. I tell her that she cannot do this because the girls will get confused. It is all about them. She will even complain about how Jim only uses her for a good time and that she really does not love him. She asks if we can R and I tell her no. It would be different if she told the truth about her affair when we were dating and it stopped after our marriage. I could have dealt with that. However, the years and years of lying and betrayal takes its toll. It is like a 1,000 paper cuts. My comment: if this is real, just run, don't look around, just run. This is not a partner you want around.